Hello, and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Last time, Amane's story ended. This is one hell of a story. I raised my eyes from the diary, reflexively staring up into Amane's face. Her eyes are downcast, her mouth twisted sorrowfully.
ねえ、ユージは孤独って知ってる?
They eat each other, maybe? Cockroaches. From what I've read about them, they're incredibly durable creatures. They can last for weeks without food and, well, sometimes cannibalize each other.
私はね、毒虫を詰め込んだ壺の中から生き残った最強最悪の毒虫なのよ。
Okay, I can see this really mess with your head mentally. I can imagine why. I can't find anything to say. You know, all things considered, you're pretty well adjusted, considering the situation that you went through. I'm so sorry, that must have been terrible. Or he said, I don't know what to say, yeah. I can't find anything to say. I'm so sorry, that must have been terrible. I've gone through something similar myself. The comparison would be unfair. The paths we followed to that point were far too different. Even so, I understand. Thrown abruptly into a rain-soaked hell, without adequate food, unable to imagine what tomorrow will bring, your physical and emotional strength are slowly whittled down. The ones wobbling on their feet have a week. The ones sitting 5 days. The ones lying down 3. The ones that can't speak 2, and the ones that can't blink will be dead before the sun sets. At some point, you've lost the energy to dig graves for your companions. You sleep next to the rotting corpses of your friends. Hell on earth. Precisely because I understand. I have no words to offer her. I seek refuge in the tattered diary in my hands. Returning home as the only survivor of the horrific accident, my reception wasn't what you'd call gentle. The media widely discussed the incident and its miraculous survivor, spicing up their articles with a barrage of thoughtless and downright cruel speculation. While never publishing my actual name, many twisted the limited information to suggest my survival had come at the cost of my humanity. I was the social problem of the hour. When I returned to school after recovering my physical strength, a classmate thrust a weekly magazine in my face. It was open to a gory photograph of the crash scene as it had been discovered. Hey, this corpse, this is Hiroka-san's face, isn't it? Poor girl, so tell me something. Why were you the only one who survived? Everyone else died. Why are you the only one who came, back? Of course, at that age, the gruesome and bizarre have irresistible pull. At first, the words might have been nothing but curiosity, carrying no ill intent. At first, they might not have realized their own casual cruelty. But that first question opened the floodgates. Soon, the entire class hurling questions at me, mostly for their own amusement. Hey, you ate them, didn't you? Base speculation always runs along predictable lines. It's more interesting if she ate them, therefore, she ate them. Better the titillating fiction than the complicated truth. Ate her friends, then came right back like nothing happened. How can she live with herself? Makes me want to puke. What's up with her parents? Going through that sort of experience. And you don't keep her out of school or transfer her or anything like that? I wouldn't have done it in a million years. Some things are more important than staying alive. I'd rather starve to death than eat someone. Why didn't you just kill herself? Just seeing her face makes me lose my appetite. God, I hope she transfers soon. They should have done that in the first place. They shouldn't have let her come back. At the very least, minimum, they should have kept her out until most of this blew over. And it was like a distant memory in most people's minds. It wasn't like the big news story of the hour. It just seemed sort of irresponsible to send her to school at this point. Soon, they spoke with undisguised hatred. I mean, if she ends up, like, being held back a year and having to redo stuff, that's... I think there's worse things that can happen. Like emotionally and mentally just wrecking her. My denials fell on deaf ears, and I stopped even trying. In their eyes, I was a cockroach, a vicious, terrible insect inside the confines of the killing jar. I consumed my own kind to survive. And now, I crawled back to safety all alone. It quickly became impossible for me to attend school normally. Before long, a special classroom was prepared for me to study alone. Just go to a different goddamn school. Nobody knows that you're the person. The only reason they know here is because they know the accident happened to their classmates. Just go to a different school. I mean, seriously. There are worse things. Being isolated in a special classroom is probably worse than anything else. Like, being worse than actually legitimately transferring. The administration's attempt at resolving the problem was half-hearted and passive. Essentially, they isolated me from my classmates, leaving my former homeroom teacher to take care of any of the problems that might arise. But since their main concern was minimizing further disruption, the choice made sense, and fortunately the teacher was a kind woman who offered me warm encouragement. It's alright. As long as you're alive, you can start again. As many times as it takes, I'm here for you. I'll be here as long as it takes, so please keep trying, okay? Her words pulled me through some of the blackest days. She was right. My survival would come at the cost of many, many sacrifices. I'd keep going for the sake of those who had died, and for the people who still believed in me. But eventually, I was made to realize these innocent thoughts were founded in nothing more than childish naivete. Half a year after the accident, I moved up to the next grade in a new homeroom, and the teacher who had treated me so kindly abruptly stopped her little therapy sessions. Her attitude changed, her sympathy left her eyes. In the end, her kindness had been nothing more than the professional mask of an adult doing her job. That realization hurt me more deeply than any of the lies or insults ever had. Huh. Well, that's unfortunate. For a variety of reasons, obviously. After yet another day of isolated misery in an empty classroom, I returned home to find the words "cockroach nest" scrawled in huge letters across the side of my house. Oh my. That's not great. They can't properly move either, can they? I suppose they could move, like, within the area. I feel like this is the sort of situation where... I don't know if governments actually typically have, like, funds to help people that go through this sort of situation. Like, maybe relocate a little bit, or... Like, they run a restaurant, right? A bakery, or what? No, not a bakery. No, that's Makina's thing. A restaurant, right? So they can't move. So unless they're living in the restaurant, they might be able to move to just like another house in the area, and they might be able to get some help. I imagine. I suppose it depends how much the government cares, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. It seems like the sort of situation you'd want to have funds to help keep things from escalating in any situation, if purely from the sense of crime prevention. My mom was crouched beside the graffiti with a bucket and a brush, tears in her eyes as she desperately tried to clean it off. Her teeth were tightly clenched as if to keep the sobs inside. They made her cry, they made my stout-hearted mom weep as miserably as a child. By a wave of inexpressible, overwhelming sadness, I fell to my knees on the spot. Is other people's misery really that much fun to you? The reality had nothing to do with it. They weren't even trying to look at the truth. All they wanted was an interesting story, and my suffering seemed to be highly entertaining to them. I could endure the slander and abuse, but at this rate, I would end up becoming a blight on my own family. I simply couldn't take it anymore. What did I survive for anyway? This? If I just died with everyone else in the valley, none of this would have happened. I wanted to turn back time. I wanted to go back to that ravine. and redo it all from the very start. I could see nothing in my future, so I fantasized about the past. Even so, I resigned myself to the present, and I accepted the ridicule and ostracism of those around me. I stepped over the bodies of my friends to save myself. Surely, I needed some punishment for that. Of course, no one was going to object to my suffering. It was the least I deserved. I could prostrate myself weeping in front of my friends' graves all I wanted, but no one was going to forgive me that easily. Until I had suffered more than those who had died, no one would approve of my continued existence. This was my punishment for surviving. I accepted it. I knew I couldn't expect clemency, but even so, I desperately needed someone to give me the hope that it might end. That someday, I might be forgiven. Self-loathing was my only means of atonement, and it was a feeble counterweight against the sin I was committing with every breath I drew. I was gradually driven into a corner. How wonderful would it have been to run from it all, to shed the weight of what I'd done. But the punishment for surviving was impossible to escape. I had no choice but to bear it. I tried to be strong. I tried to act cheerfully in the face of it all, but so very hard. The slightest smile on my face would inspire condemnation. How can she laugh after what happened? If I ran away from their words, they condemned that as well. My sin would never fade. Not for all eternity. Every once in a while I dreamed at night. Always the same nightmare. Always in the same place, the depths of that hellish jungle. In the gloomy forest, the girls from the basketball club sat on the roots of the trees, still and quiet. One by one, they slowly died. The corpses lay against the trunks of the trees, swelling up with gas-like gruesome balloons. Their faces had been blurred from the start by the severe malnutrition. Soon it was impossible to tell where their eyes had been. Eventually, their mouths creaked open, and the gas inside their bodies began to leak out into the human air with a sound like a ghostly moan. Before long, those faint sounds had become voices. Amane. Amane, help me. Amane. I don't want to die, Amane. There's so much, Amane. Why only you? Why, Amane? Why won't you help me? Hey, Amane. I lost count of how many times I'd woken up screaming in the middle of the night. Going to sleep had become terrifying. But even awake, I could hear the voices whispering in my ear. The voices of my friends calling my name. When I turned back, there was no one. Even so, I heard the whispers constantly. Schizophrenia? Is that technically schizophrenia? I have no idea. Obviously, I've never experienced myself for the past, 5 minutes. But, No, I've never had it. I have no idea, it's the voices in the head sort of thing going on, but, that sort of thing, where you're just sort of, imagining that sort of stuff, maybe? Asleep or awake, someone was always cursing me. My guilt was ever present, crushing. I had no refuge. In time, I lost the ability to distinguish between reality and my dreams. Even awake, I screamed at the phantoms. One morning, standing on the train platform, I was shoved from behind by a figment of my own imagination and fell hard onto the track below. I understood perfectly well that my own accumulated guilt had given me that push, but knowing did me no good. You were pushed from behind by a figment of your imagination. So you threw yourself, and you just imagined it was the result of a push? You did subconsciously, you weren't willfully thinking, I gotta throw myself, or something like that. Sometimes I thought about just dying, but I couldn't commit suicide. If I took my own life, I'd be branded for all eternity as a coward who fled from the punishment her actions had earned. Maybe someone would be so kind as to kill me instead. A random violent death at another's hand might well be my only possible salvation. If someone killed me, I could escape without having fled from my responsibility. If someone would only punish me. Yes, that was it. Every time someone harassed or tormented me, it felt as though the weight of the sin on my shoulders felt a little lighter. If I could live my life entirely for someone else's sake, maybe someday I'd be forgiven. But for that role, I need someone who would punish me for the sin of surviving. So, that when moments of happiness found me, when I laughed, I could simply offer a silent apology to the 10. I needed someone who would give me an excuse for the voices that whispered in my ear. I needed an answer for their resentful curses. See, I'm getting exactly what I deserve. I absolutely needed that. In the end, I wasted 6 years of my life waiting for someone who could bring me that hollow, self-serving comfort.
そんな時、私に罰を与えるのにふさわしい男が現れた。
I'm not really too surprised why you ended up here, but you didn't include that in your story, did you?
私を助けるために自分を犠牲にした風見一樹。その風見一樹の弟、遺族、それがユージだったんだよ。ずっと黙っててごめんね、ユージ。
I mean, they say in a relationship you gotta let out your crazy a little bit at a time. Well, that's a lot at a time.
私はね、あんたのお姉ちゃんを犠牲にして生き残った惨めな卑怯者なんだよ。ごめんなさい。
It was her choice to make. I feel like Yuji's gonna agree with this, but as unfortunate as the situation was, it was still her choice. I think we trust you enough to trust that your diary and everything you've told us is the truth, at the very least. Still staring into my eyes, Amane sniffles miserably. I see. My body feels as stiff and wooden as the words coming out of my mouth. It takes all my effort just to nod. I understand. Some sins can never be forgiven. No matter how many times we apologize, the dead can never come back.
ずっと言おうと思ってたんだよ。謝ろうと思ってた。でも私ね、事故の後、一度だけ和樹の家に行ったことがあるの。家族の人には本当のことを全部話そうって思ってた。信じてもらえなくても、ひどく責められても構わない。でも一言謝りたいってずっと思ってた。
And I assume that was after they moved, yeah?
でも和樹の家には誰もいなかった。
You didn't happen to run into Sachi, did you?
近所の人に話を聞いたら、1年も前にご両親が離婚されて、それからずっと空き家だって。
Which I'm sure you blamed yourself for as well. Honestly, if, I mean, losing a child isn't exactly the worst reason to have a relationship spiral into not being able to be saved. It isn't, honestly. But everything I've heard about it makes it sound like they were, as far as I've heard, it did not sound in the slightest like they were good people in how they handled everything.
離婚の原因は和樹が事故で死んだからだって聞かされた。私がユージの家族をめちゃくちゃにしちゃったんだって、そう思ったら怖くて言い出せなかったんだよ。
True enough. Kazuki's death was the catalyst of my parents' divorce. But what came after, the real disintegration of my family, that was inevitable. My father's death and my mother's suicide were inescapable, fated events. Amane had nothing to do with any of that. And either way, making her into a scapegoat won't change the past.
だから私がユージと初めて会った時、私は思ったの。私がユージからお姉ちゃんを奪ってしまったのなら、だったらせめて和樹の代わりになろうって、そう思ったの。
Well, it certainly explains why you're so insistent on the sister thing at the very least. But you went to girlfriend first, didn't you?
私なんかじゃ和樹の代わりにはならない。そんなのは私に都合がいいだけの逃げだってそう分かっていても、他にできることなんてなかった。だから何を言われても逆らわない優しいお姉ちゃんになろうってそう決めた。ユージが望むなら何でもしてあげようって思った。
Cockroach. Yes. Oh god, it's been such a long time. I forgot that's what they were calling her before. Damn.
キスされるぐらいどうってことない。それ以上望まれても断るつもりはなかった。何をされても絶対に文句は言わない。ユージが望むなら何でもしてあげようって思った。別に処女をあげるぐらいどうってことない。どうせ一度は諦めた命だし、和樹の代わりに生き残った命だもん。私はユージの本当のお姉ちゃんじゃない分、本当のお姉ちゃんにはできないこともしてあげようって決めたの。
I'm sort of getting the feeling she... No, I don't even want to go there in the commentary here. Hold on, Amane... Okay, I want to make sure I'm clear on something, okay? In other words, you approached me out of a sense of responsibility. Not any romantic feelings. I'm not gonna get angry about it at this point. Just give me the honest truth.
正直に言うとね、別にユージのことは嫌いではないけど、好きというほどのめり込んでいるわけでもなかった。そんな大して好きでもないような男に好きなように抱かせてあげて、都合のいい女でいてあげるのが私の罰だってそう思っていたし。
All sorts of thoughts raging in that head, eh?
その程度、生き残った罰としては全然軽いと思ってた。
I think basically anything will end up not being penance in your mind, because it's because there's no way you can actually make up for it, given the severity you've given your sins in your mind.
それでもユージに抱かれると少し気分が軽くなったの。ユージに抱かれるたびに、ユージの欲望を満たしてあげるたびに、私は自分の中の罪が軽くなっていくような気がしたの。私にとってのユージは後ろめたさを埋めるための道具でしかなかった。
I see. A convenient woman like that is obviously too good to be true. So, this is the source of that unease I can never manage to shake. This is why I couldn't get rid of that lingering doubt, always squirming in the back of my mind. I don't know many women prone to falling in love with virtual strangers. Over time, I'd halfway convinced myself that Amani was just a special case. But as I suspected from the start, there was something else behind all that.
でもね、こんなこと言ってもきっと信じてくれないと思うけど、私、ユージのこと本当に好きになっちゃったんだよ。
Why? Did you fall in love with a sense of relief? Or did you fall in love with Yuuji? That's a big question that needs to be answered.
私はもっと鮮烈な罰が欲しかったから、セックスの回数も増えたし、過激なことにも自分から挑戦した。でもね、いつの間にかユージに抱かれることで幸福を感じるようになっちゃって、それじゃダメなんだよ。それじゃ罰じゃなくなっちゃう。気がつけば沈静化していた悪夢とか幻覚とか幻聴がまた復活して、みんなが私を責めるんだよ。またもっとずっと強い罰が必要なのに、これ以上ユージを好きになっちゃダメなのに。どんなに好きになっても私の行く場所にユージを連れてはいけない。私一人で行かなければいけないのに。 もうこれで最後にしよう。本当のことを打ち明けてこの人とは別れようって毎回そう思うのに、次の日の朝に目を覚ませばもう一日だけ明日になったら別れを切り出そうって思うようになって怖かったんだよ。何度もあんたのお姉ちゃんを見殺しにしたのは私だよって言おうと思った。そう口にしてしまいたかったのに。
Well, that would have been a quicker story at the very least.
でもそれを口にすればきっとユージは私の前からいなくなる。きっとユージは私を孤独から生きて戻った不吉な女と蔑んで、あんた食ったのかって化け物でも見るような目で私を見るに違いない。そう思ったら怖くて。
I understand the fear. But I don't think that ever would have happened. Yuji's just not that sort of person. I don't think anyone here is. We're too detached from the situation to do anything but really take your perspective on it. I don't know, we might seek out a different perspective, but I can't imagine us being like those kids that have the connection to, the lack of connection and the connection, I guess is a way of saying it, where it's close enough to them that they feel internally obligated to speculate on it because they have so much information, and far enough away from it that they can remove their empathy from what they're doing to the person, at the very least. An excuse via the, oh, maybe she ate people, to remove empathy from treating her like a human, right? I don't think anyone here is even close to that situation, myself included.
どんなに謝っても私が見捨てた和樹は生き返らない。だからごめんね。
So, in other words, she went in reluctantly, but now she's pretty much enjoying herself. In the first place, why are Amani's romantic feelings the first thing in my mind here? My sister, my family, all that is just a messy, ugly pain in the ass. In the end, I think I'm much more concerned about what comes next. At times like these, the fundamental strategy is to hear out that woman's story and throw in a few vague responses here and there. But I think I need to say something pretty soon.
ねえ、ユージ。
Yeah?
私を殺してくれない？
No. Say what?
私はこんなことでしか罰を受けられない。こんなことでしか許しを得られない。だったらもうユージに殺してもらうしかないの。ごめんね。
I haven't gotten a choice in this route, have I? Ooh. What the hell are you talking about, woman? Have you gone soft in the head? You expect me to kill someone who squeals like a piglet over a single chop to the head? Oh, don't make me laugh.
ごめんね。
And that's another thing. Stop it with the damn I'm sorry, will you? I can't stand that phrase. Those were the final words my mother left for me before her suicide. Utterly empty, barren words of surrender. Every time I hear that phrase, I remember myself. The way I was, I remember my failure, my inability to act. My chest throbs painfully. First off, don't try to mimic Kazuki, alright? I only had one sister, and she's gone now. What? Do you enjoy ripping open my old scars or something? This I'm sorry chorus of yours is putting me in a lousy mood.
ごめん。
I'm telling you to stop that, idiot. I mean, weren't you Kazuki's classmates? Didn't she ever tell you not to say sorry so damn much? Very well, then. Allow me to increase your repertoire of phrases, you mush-brained parrots. Repeat after me. Thank you.
ありがとう。
Every time you feel a sorry crawling up in your throat, change it to a thank you before it gets out of your mouth. That's your punishment. Don't even think about dropping your apologies on me, arbitrarily deciding that you've been forgiven, or flying off into the night. Got that?
私、バカだからよくわかんない。どういうこと？
You really are a dim-witted woman, aren't you? You know that? God damn it. How am I supposed to explain this? Christ, I'm just as dim-witted. Let me think for a while. You're a distraction. Woman, go sit down here and reflect on your idiocy. I'm going to get my thoughts together.
正座で？
Set! Man, that dog and cat fucking comparison's never gonna die, is it? To be honest, so much has got dumped on me at once that my head can't really keep up. What am I supposed to think about all this? First, there's Amani's past. Not to put too fine a point on it, but I don't give a shit. From what I read in the diary, she did nothing wrong. Kazuki's decision was understandable. I probably would have done the same thing in her place. If anything, Kazuki's at fault for enjoying that nice heroic death, leaving all the messy, angsty business of surviving to her friend. For one thing, I'm still not fully convinced Kazuki would die as easily as that. Oh, no. Don't do this. Don't do this. She had her death. It was emotional. Don't do that. No. Don't even just suggest at it. No, that's giving me very conflicted feelings. But either way, that's not the problem. The past is the past, nothing can be done about any of that now. You can spit out as many what-ifs and if-onlys as you want, but unless you're using them as a reference next time, it's a meaningless exercise. The only thing that matters now is what we do next. Amane.
はい、なんでしょう？
All said and done. You love me, yeah? Confirm or deny?
そう、ごめん。いや、ありがとう。
Oh my goodness. Very well, sit.
ワン。
Amane says she loves me. So, how about my own feelings on the matter? I've thought them over many, many times. I'm pretty damn sure by now. I love Amane. I'm a bit ashamed to say it, but on a purely practical basis, I doubt there's another woman in the world as convenient as her. Oh boy. I'm still not convinced Yuuji actually loves her. I think he's felt a sense of desire to protect her, but that's a very warped way of, like he feels an obligation to her in that same sort of romantic way, but it doesn't feel like it's born out of the same place that I imagine actual, love coming from. But whatever. This whole thing is messed up enough. Why not have a really twisted, fucked up love? Then again, is that really all there is to it? As I fold my arms in thoughts, I find my eyes have come to rest on a beautifully folded work uniform. My job is pretty rough on the clothes. They snag on thorny bushes, ripped against walls, and drag along the ground. More often than not, I come back with a number of holes in my uniform. It was only a few days ago that I realized those holes were being repaired. Out on the job, I'd happened to glance at the elbow of my uniform, where a torn seam had been neatly stitched back together. A colleague, noticing as I started at the careful needlework, asked, "Your wife sewed that up for you?" And the words, "Guess so," slipped out of my mouth. Startled by my own reply, I thought long and hard about what Amane was to me. While wearing the clothes she'd mended for me and stuffing my mouth with the lunch she'd packed for me, I pondered the matter. What about Amane had I fallen in love with anyway? There we go. Her looks? True, she was definitely an attractive woman from any angle. The long hair and nice scent didn't hurt either. Maybe because she was so willing in bed? Another definite plus. Amani never complained. And she's up for anything, anytime. But neither of those had much to do with it, really. I can't express it too well, but for example, the way she mended my clothes without a word. And the lunch she always packed for me. Right. To summarize, she always did so much for me. But how much of that was out of obligation, I wonder? Like, I can 100% understand. I can understand. Like, it's definitely a tendency for me to, when I see those, like, the anime or movies or whatever, where there's, like, a collection of potential love interests, male, female, whoever the lead is for the lead, until someone wins me over in a different way, I do typically gravitate towards the person who, if they already have an established, like, crush on the lead, liking that sort of thing. And the same thing is true for real life to an extent, too. The idea that the desire to be with someone who cares for you that much creates feelings for them. And I can definitely understand that feeling. That has happened before for me. Right, summarize. She always did so much for me. Amani devoted herself for me. For a boring man like me, she did all that without even being asked. And that made me happy. Simple as that. Even Amani had been unbelievably ugly. I would have fallen for her. By the same token, whatever happened in the past, I'm not going to stop loving her. That feeling isn't going anywhere, no matter what.
Nani?
Nothing. Shitty trap, I'm still thinking.
Hi.
This is the woman I love. Yuuji, thanks. Still sitting ramrod straight on her heels, Amani's face droops like a potty puppy giving a command to wait. Watching her comically forlorn expression, I move on to consider the final problem. I could simply tell her you're forgiven on the spot, but there's no way that would resolve the issue. If anything, my forgiveness might well inspire her to go looking for a new punishment, driving her to erratic, even dangerous behavior. Well, the problem is that she's never going to believe herself forgiven. She never is. Ever, 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 ever. Unless something absolutely ridiculous comes along that happens to just, like, miraculously, in her eye, manage to be the exact same thing. Like, comparable. Which is basically the dying thing, but, you know, miraculous in the way that it doesn't involve dying. She's just got it in her head in a way that it's nothing that you're going to be able to match by an actual punishment without her legitimately dying. And even if she ended up dying, let's say there's something after that to look back and reflect on that action, she'd probably be like, oh, no, I need a better punishment. Something that would actually, you know, result in me dying. I don't know. How many students were there? I felt like over 10 times or something like that. Yeah. Well, in that case... Alright, Amane, the matter's been decided on your feet.
ちょっと待って。足がしびれて。
Alright then, I'll help you up. Here.
ありがとう。よいしょっと。それで、私はどうすれば。
I've thought this over pretty carefully. But let me make things clear first. I don't intend to take pity on you because of your past. Everyone has a regret or two. It's a natural part of being alive. That said, I also understand yours is a particularly complicated and painful one. Telling you forget it or don't worry about it would be a waste of breath. Remorse that deep isn't just going to stop tormenting you. You might well end up carrying it on your shoulders for the rest of your life. And this idea that your current good deeds can somehow redeem you for what has happened in the past is a load of self-serving crap. You've got no choice but to receive your punishment for the rest of your life. I'm not really old or wise enough to say that's life, like some sort of authority in the matter, but at the very least, I think I'm better accustomed to living with suffering than you. Therefore, I will now arrogantly throw my conclusion in your face. Accept it gratefully. Oh my. You asked me to kill you just now, right? Not attached to your life.
私の命が欲しいって言うなら、ユージにあげる。
I see. Alright. I accept from this moment forth you're going to live the rest of your life for my sake. It's just some crappy life you picked up off the ground in the mountains, right? Can't be worth much to you. Just take it off your hands.
でも...
What now? You have a problem? Well, too bad. You gave your life to me, so I can do whatever the hell I want with it. You have no right to complain.
なんだろう、もうちょっとわかりやすく説明してもらえると嬉しいんだけど。
Nothing to explain, nothing's really going to change. Just keep doing what you're doing. Live for my sake, devote yourself to me. I'm the king, you know, my pet dog. Got it?
変わらないってどういうこと?
He's saying what you're doing is sufficient. Ultimately, yes, I agree with him in the sense that the guilt is never going to go away. And if you just tell someone to forget it entirely, no, that's... You're never gonna stop acting on impulses to try to deal with that guilt, yeah? So if you give an outlet for that, at the very least, an outlet to be like, okay, I'll do something for him, then you can manage it. I think that's what Yuji's trying to do. Give her a mental excuse to manage the guilt. And because she does love him, by her own admission, at the very least, and Yuji wants to be in a relationship with her, it turns out in a way that they're both happy about it. At least for now. Well, that they're both, it's both something they do regardless of the guilt aspect, is the better way of phrasing it. Do you have a wad of marshmallow fluff in your brain? Fine, I'll put it even more simply and rudely. God damn you. How dare you leave my sister to die? I'll never forgive you. You're my slave for a life. Understood? If you understand, bark like a dog, you filthy mutt. Oh, Money. Just stay with me for the rest of your life. That's your punishment.
じゃあさ、もしかして私、ずっとユージのそばにいてもいいの?
I just answered this question. Not only can you, you're going to. I'll smack you silly if you try to disappear on me. Keep that in mind.
Yuji.
What now?
Yuji.
Oh, calm down. Spit it out already. Also, I'm not a submachine gun. Whoops. You know something? You always make this ridiculously ugly face when you cry. Oh, I thought you were supposed to live for me. Oh. There. Okay, this is getting annoying already. I'll allow you 5 minutes maximum. Oh, any day for you, Amane. If I was nice, it'd hardly be a punishment. As Amane breaks down into tears, I wrap my arms around her and hug her tightly to my chest. There's only one way I can save this woman. And it's not by trying to break the curse of her past. I'll simply accept everything. Knowing her past, knowing her trauma, I'll accept it all. I'll provide her with the punishment she needs. There's no other way. Someday Amane will surely come to understand. The only person she needs to ask for forgiveness is herself. Until then, I'll be a burden for her to bear. I'll ease her guilt. I'll be her punishment. I'll offer her forgiveness, even if no one else in the world does. No matter what anyone says, I'll give her absolution. If I simply stay by her side, someday her penance will reach its end. I know it will. The day will surely come when Amane can forgive herself. Possibly, maybe. More? Okay. I suppose we still haven't gotten that choice, have we? Okay. Even after all those revelations, there haven't really been any major changes in my life with Amane. What was the life like again? It's been a fucking goddamn while. I still stand by the opinion that, at least for the dramatic aspects of this visual novel, like the slice of life stuff I think is fine, typically because it's funny, and it's like, it's not really trying to progress much of anywhere. So it's not like progress is a matter, it's more just, are you keeping things lighthearted and entertaining? I still feel as though you could probably reduce the length of any given scene in the dramatic portions of this between all the routes, honestly. To probably like 2/3 the length while keeping all the same events. And you'd probably be able to have a very similar impact without having the detriment of the pacing problems. I'm going to stand by that. I feel as though through the routes I've done, I think you could pretty consistently say you could reduce it to 2/3 or 3/4 the length and still achieve everything you wanted to a similar degree, if not exactly the same. Even in this case, where it was that long descent into madness, I feel like you could have done that with less, basically. With less. You could have had the same amount of events, same amount of things happen. You could have just reduced the little fluff here and there a little bit and just cut it down to like 3/4 the length, and it probably would have been better. Ultimately. Like, I still think, like, I don't think it necessarily would have hurt the climax to it as much as, I guess, really the point. You would have had less of the downtimes and it's the whole thing involving pacing, etc, etc, etc. I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. I think if you care, you get what I'm saying, even if you disagree. Well, the only real differences come in that life that come to mind. Amane's calmed down on the clinging demands for aggressive sex. Aww, the horror. And I've started to notice the subtle shifts in her emotions. From what Sakaki tells me, this has been going on frequently even before now. But when something happy or fun happens, Amane tends to get a slightly brooding look on her face. Now that I understand these signs of her self-reproach and guilt for what they are, I admonish her. You're allowed to smile. Sometimes I outright order her to do so. And although I know she's still thinking a cowardly insect like me has no right to be happy, she always manages to give me a sweet, artful smile in response. Amane once told me that I had a crappy excuse for a smile, and now I understand why she saw right through it so easily. She's a far more experienced master of the forced smile. It might sound like a joke, but it seems like Takizono Private Academy actually had formal lessons on how to push your face into an elegant smile. Oh, that's sad. That is sad. I suppose it makes sense given where she was going. It was like basically a woman's prep school in a way, yeah? Specifically for women and all the... Yeah. Kazuki had always been even worse at smiling than I was. Imagining her desperately trying to contort her face into a friendly simper is absurdly amusing. Hey, Amane, tell me something. That smiling lesson or whatever, I assume Kazuki participated in it as well.
どうだろう。私 D 組だったから A 組の和樹とは授業が一緒になることはなかったし。
Right, but she would have been obligated to take it, yeah? But seriously. Oh, just thinking about it makes you laugh. Kazuki curtsying politely in time to the teacher's piano with a beaming smile on her face. Oh, I would pay money to see that.
確かに。っていうか、和樹のそんな姿を見たら逆に笑えないような気もするけどね。
You know, there actually is a benefit to you knowing Kazuki. It lets Yuuji connect to his past in a little bit more of a positive way. Yes, the end result is a bad thing, but you knew Kazuki in a very positive way. You see her in a very positive light. Even if the events themselves are a bit Yeah. It's, probably not a way for Yuuji to dip into his past and connect with it that he ever had before. Come to think of it, when Kazuki was still a grade schooler, I did see her practicing her smile once.
嘘、和樹が
Not sure when this was exactly, but Kazuki came to deliver something I'd forgotten to my classroom. A classmate came up to me afterwards and asked me about her. Why is your big sister always so cranky? In this kind of scared little voice. Of course, I just said, that's normal for her. When I returned home, I told Kazuki, one of the kids in my class thinks you're kind of scary. Guess it was a little bit of a shock, even for her. She started practicing her smile in front of the mirror after her bath. Funny, right?
そうだね。
You're allowed to smile yourself, or even laugh.
分かってる。6年も前のことだし、もう笑って話せる時期だってのは分かってるんだけどね。
Smiling is the duty of those who are left behind. Please try.
でも、私、和樹のことを思い出すと、やっぱり。
And you remember her smile. No good, huh? From reading the contents of Amani's diary, I understand that she worshipped Kazuki like a god. Odds are giving her my standard order to smile now would only worsen her suffering. To be honest, the topic of my sister still stings a bit for me as well. But I guess I've developed my own way of coping with it. Amani, tell me something. Do you really believe Kazuki's dead?
それってどういう意味？
Don't do this, Yuuji, please. Please don't. Exactly what it sounds like, to be honest. I don't really buy it. Certainly she's dead on paper, and they did find something that was thought to be Kazuki's corpse at the site. But I just can't believe she died that easily.
それは私だって信じたくはないけど。
I'm going to get into some slightly gruesome territory here, alright? The corpse of Kazuki they found on site had been cut to pieces. You know that as well, right? But for some reason, they never found her head. What do you think of that? I think it means very little. She gave you a hint herself, didn't she? A long time ago, Kazuki told me about a swindle where carefully cutting and pasting 10,000 yen notes into 11 slightly smaller ones. Oh, no. Don't. Come on, that's ruining the emotional impact if you're really gonna go this route. And she showed you a similar trick with the 11 carats, yeah. Corpses aren't any different. Just as an example, if you happen to have 10 of them lying around, you could probably make 11, don't you think?
嘘。だってそんなことが人間と人参は違うよ。
You do think that the people in question would be doing their due diligence, but then again, people were being eaten, so the assumption of, oh, they must have eaten that part, sort of thing going on, in terms of the body parts not adding up. Well, no, not to Kazuki they aren't.
じゃあ、和樹は生きてるの？
He's saying it's a possibility. Don't go beyond that. I don't know about that. If she is alive, why hasn't she shown herself to us? It's all just a mystery. But there's one thing I'm confident about. I don't think Kazuki would accept death that easily. And she always did have a number of personalities. Characters she'd played. By now, she might well be casually going about her business somewhere as a totally different person. I can't shake that feeling. At the time, 13 corpses were discovered at the crash site. Many of them had been horribly damaged. But the numbers matched. The investigators didn't have any reason to be suspicious, and the corpses were roughly identifiable. There's no point in DNA testing. Given the dismembered, partially consumed state of the bodies, a few missing parts wouldn't have inspired any serious doubts. And of course, Katsuki's head was never discovered. And when they discovered the corpses, they did investigate the cause of death. There's no DNA testing performed.
和樹が生きている。
I hope Yuji's just bullshitting here. I hope he's just bullshitting in order to give Amane that sliver of hope. You know? No, I'm just saying it's possible to think that way. It's not like I have any real evidence.
でも和樹は言ったよ。私は死なないって。いつか必ずまた会えるからって確かに言ってた。
Okay, Amane, you can think whatever you want. I'm not gonna object to that. But, you know, please don't, game, please. Right, but look, Amane, I'm not seriously trying to push this theory onto you. All I meant was thinking Katsuki might still be alive. All I meant was thinking Katsuki might be alive somewhere might help you find the courage to, You're not listening to a word I'm saying, are you? Oh, where are you going all of a sudden? Apparently remembering something, Amane dashed off as if stung by a whip. I followed her. She flies up the stairs, throws open the door to her room, and begins rummaging around vigorously in her closet. Hello? Amane? Amane-san? Anyone home?
あんたこれ見て。
What's this? Pulling out a storage case that had been carefully tucked away in the back of her closet, Amane takes out a sheaf of yellow memo paper wrinkled and stained by patches of dried mud. Even at a glance, I immediately recognize the familiar handwriting, lining those pages. Well, that's Katsuki's writing, isn't it?
そう、それは和樹が私のために用意してくれた密林脱出メモだよ。
Interesting. I take the leaves of paper, probably ripped out, of a small notepad from Amane's hand. First, there's a rough map of the area around the camp, no doubt the product of Katsuki's independent investigations. She also included a number of methods to ascertain direction within the forest, including orientation by the stars. If your path ahead seems overly difficult, don't hesitate to take a detour. And when you think your physical strength may be failing you, take a rest. Use the time to discard items from a rucksack, beginning with the heavy and inessential. The soil is full of volcanic rock and dense minerals, so the tree roots are shallow and twisted. Also, their access to the sunlight is irregular. For those reasons, the direction of the growth won't be as reliable navigational tool. Maintaining pressure on your ankles offers some relief from swelling. Wear 2 sets of socks and pull them to the calf. Your lactic acid buildup will be less severe. Just don't expect this to offer much protection against leeches. Well, very methodical. That's Kazuki for you.
でね、ここ見て。
If you fail to escape, huh?
和樹が残したメモには脱出に失敗したら居留地に戻ってこいって書いてあって、和樹が非常食を隠した穴の位置が記された地図があったの。
I see. Judging from the fact that she wrote those notes, Kazuki must have known from the start that there was a good chance she'd be making you escape alone.
きっと和樹はこうなることを予想してたんだと思う。
But what made this come to mind all of a sudden?
あのさ、もしだよ。もし和樹が生きているとしたら、今和樹がどこにいるのかってヒントはここにあると思うんだよね。
Here? At the scene of the accident?
そう。和樹が私に最後に残したものってきっとこの非常食を埋めた穴の中にあるんじゃないかな。
You think the investigators wouldn't have looked at the notes and stuff you had and used it and found it themselves? If they didn't, they're fucking incompetent.
和樹は事故の翌日、シャベルを抱えて一人で森の中に入っていった。あれってバスの中から回収した食料とかを埋めに行ってたんだと思うんだ。
It has been 6 years.
和樹は時々一人でふっといなくなることがあって、ずいぶんトイレの近い子なんだなって思ってたけど、多分頻繁にその穴に何かを隠しに行ってたんじゃないかって。
Food, maybe? I see. Well, that sounds like the only realistic possibility of finding any clue that might lead us to Kazuki.
そう。それにもし 和樹が死んでいたとしても、最後の遺品がそこに残されているってこと。ねえ、ユージ、行ってみない？
Have they cleaned up the place? Go to the scene. That seems... I mean you.
確かにまだきついかもしれない。苦しい思い出ばっかり詰まってる場所だしね。でもいつかは克服しなければいけないことだと思うし、それにユージが一緒に行ってくれるなら多分大丈夫だと思うんだ。
I do have a job that can be called up in any moment, FYI. I see.
まあちょっとしたデートだと思ってさ。悪いけど付き合ってよ。
Oh, this will be romantic. Yeah, alright. Alright. Okay. Well then, it looks like we're going on a trip. I think that's probably the best place to end it for now. I'm not sure how much is left, but we'll see. I am sort of thinking that this is going to... Well, it's not unheard of for them to be like, oh no, maybe she's alive and leave it, like, vague and such, but I think they're not going to find anything. If anything, I think they're going to find something that suggests that she's dead, yeah? Maybe a goodbye note, something like that. Maybe something to absolve her and directly say you're forgiven from her mouth, essentially. So, yeah. That's what I'm expecting at the very least, so I'll see you all next time. Drive safely, everyone.